Welcome to Consonare Backstage. Our guest today is Georgina Philippson, the Artistic Director for Consonare Chorale. Welcome, Georgina.
Thank you so much for having me, Craig.
Okay, well, we have a concert coming up on March 12th, and it's entitled, as I recall, Pulling on Hearstrings. Where did that theme come from?
About 12 to 18 months in advance of each season, I sit down and I write out concert themes. And they're inspired by one or two pieces that I know I really want to program. So for this concert, it was a dark and stormy night. No. And so I knew I wanted to do Vita della mia vita, which means life of my life. And I also knew that I wanted to program the Agnus Dei, which is Samuel Barber's Adagio for strings. What better pulling on heartstrings than a piece translated from strings to voices?
That makes sense.
Right? So then after that theme is picked, I put my hands on over 15,000 choral octavos in my garage.
Hello. That's a bunch.
That's right. And for my 35th birthday, I asked my husband for 4-drawer lateral file cabinets. That's the household we have here.
Okay.
So I go out in the garage and I go through, I put my hands on all the single copy octavos that we have to find and produce a theme. A connective tissue between each one of the pieces that for this concert had centered around love, love of being, love of self, love of nature, beauty. There's good need and call for a beauty concert about every 3 years.
Yes. Or more often, as the case may be.
Yeah. And it just so happened I knew that I wanted to work with Dr. Rachel Brandwine. And we had been in talks since September of the previous year. Mm-hmm. And immediately I was looking for pieces for harp and choir. And so I found Kiss Me Softly, which was for harp and choir. Mm-hmm. And I knew I wanted to commission a world premiere piece to highlight the collaboration. Great.
So overall, about how long did it take you to pull all of this music together?
It takes about 3.5 months. I pick 80% of the program, and then I allow 20% of inspiration to take place up until about 1 or 2 months before the choir gets the music to begin rehearsing.
Okay, so what you mentioned just a moment ago was commissioning a special piece.
Yes.
Tell me a little more about that, and what is the piece, and are we going to have it, and all those kinds of things.
Commissioning works for choir. Well, first of all, you want to find somebody who has skill and really enjoys writing for voices. Knowledge and understanding of soprano, alto, tenor, and bass voicings and what works for the chorale. I approached Jason because we collaborated with him before on a commission, and commissions can take anywhere, from 6 months to 2.5 years. Usually the composer and the arranger has a set timeline. Mm-hmm. And they want to have a dialogue with you about what works for your choir or what you're looking for and does it meet the needs of the concert. So I contacted Jason back in early spring of last year.
Okay.
And over a conversation at a music conference, I said, wow, I'm looking for pieces for choir and harp. It can be anything from 4-part to 18-part because that's what we've sung before.
Yeah.
And he said, oh, my sister plays harp. Oh. And it immediately kismet.
Boy, that's funny how things kind of come together, so to speak.
It could be called the Consonare way. Yes.
Okay.
So we had worked with him before on Sakura and writing for taiko and choir because we couldn't find any pieces, oddly enough, written for taiko and choir. Mm-hmm. So because we'd been in conversation about it, when the shooting took place at Umpqua Community College, the direction of this commission immediately changed for me.
From what direction to what?
Well, we hadn't discussed a text yet. However, we knew we were going to look for something about love in a very most general way.
Yes.
And I called and reached out to Jason, and I said, what do you think about dedicating this commission? And he goes, I love it. I love the idea. And I said, well, this text came to me, or I came across the Pablo Neruda text of Te Amo, and which means I love you. Mm-hmm. And it's much more complex and in-depth than that. With the prior verse that talks about I love you as something unfulfilled, as a bud that never comes to fruition. It's very rich. It's very South American.
Yes.
It is a very complex and sophisticated. It's a different dimension of a tortured love,
Okay.
of a finally come fulfilled love, and how it ends. So he started working on the piece, and from my understanding, he through composes. So he's writing the harp score simultaneously as he's writing the voices.
Wow.
Yes.
That takes some real talent, which is way beyond me.
He is a musician of high standing and does so many things in music. He is an orchestral conductor. He's a community chorus conductor. He does choirs and rhythm section ensembles, from jazz to opera and classical literature at Umpqua Community College.
Kind of a man for all seasons or all music, types of music.
Renaissance musical man.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's amazing. So in the past, when Consonare has a concert, they only have one performance.
Right.
This time there will be two. Can you give us some background on that then?
At the close of our November concert, the 10th anniversary season kickoff, I was approached by an audience member, and she lives in Roseburg, where Jason is also from. And she has been coming to our concerts and patroning for the last 7 or 8 years.
That's dedication.
Yes, that's a 3-hour track each way.
Yes, it is.
Her daughter sings in the choir, and I knew about Pulling on Heartstrings and how the commission had changed, and I shared with her that I really wanted to bring this concert to Roseburg. And she sings with Jason down in Roseburg, and she said that she would plant the seed. And I said, well, this would be really meaningful and be a full circle moment and an outreach of healing, which I really wanted this commission to be a part of.
That's great. That's really great. So would you say that there's any one particular piece of music that you see in this concert that is really special to you? Would that be this piece that you're talking about that has been commissioned, or is there another piece of music that is very close to you?
I liken this to trying to pick your favorite child.
Oops.
Every piece of the program made its way onto the program out of standing on its own and being valid as a whole choral chestnut and piece unto itself. And at the same time, they're puzzle pieces. They fit together perfectly and complement an overall concert experience. What is unique about this concert is Rachel will have a time of her own to play pieces that she has written. So there's solo harp, there's string quartet that accompanies the women's piece, Tundra. Ola Yelo is a composer who is making a huge splash. He won a Grammy for his composition Northern Lights that was this past year, and we just happened to be doing one of his other pieces, Tundra, as well. For me, I would say my favorite aspect of preparing this music is seeing how it affects the choral members. Each one of them has a different favorite, and that really works to our advantage.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
Right? It varies how they share about the concert and what they promote when they're talking to friends and families and strangers about this chorale that commissions music, that has 55 people on stage, that brings in string quartet, and we'll be doing things with solo violin and cello as well.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Now, you mentioned Rachel. Could you give a little background on who Rachel is and where she comes from and that sort of thing?
I'm glad you asked. Rachel is an angelic harpist. I first met her in Sacramento at the Mu Phi Epsilon International Conference. I was conducting the conference chorus of about 80 musicians.
Wow.
And she won the Mu Phi Epsilon Foundation International Competition winner.
All right.
Yeah, and as part of preparing music for this, it's a really extensive process.
Yes.
There's districts and regionals, and then they get sent to the finals.
Mm-hmm.
She performed in a winner's gala,
Wow.
a celebratory performance.
Great.
And when I heard and watched her perform, you can hear harp on a recording, but seeing someone play it is like watching a naked piano on stage stripped down to just its strings.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
And she's moving lightning fast and coordinating so many things that are going on and using pedals.
Yes.
So we became fast friends. I spoke with her after her performance and shared how touched I was. She's from the Midwest. Mm-hmm. She is associate professor of harp at about 4 colleges.
Is that all?
Yeah.
Only 4?
Luther being one of them.
Yes.
And I guess, when you teach harp, teach harp will travel.
There you go.
Right?
Yes.
And it's a big testament to the level that she plays and composes,
mm-hmm.
That she is on staff at multiple colleges and universities.
Boy, you can't come up with recommendations much higher than that with that sort of thing. Is there anything else you have to add? Any closing thoughts whatsoever that you might like to give us?
Each spring, our concert is really unique in that we get to highlight the men and the women of Consonare in different vehicles. So it's been an evolution of our trajectory going into the 10th anniversary season of seeing continued collaborations, more world premiere music.
Great.
In conjunction with tried and true literature. Mm-hmm. Mixing up a listening experience so that it's exciting and fresh and still comforting and rewarding, so that those who haven't seen live choral music before get a taste of the breadth of what is possible, mm-hmm. and those who come with an expectation of hearing excellent choral music, they are fulfilled on that level, and then it's like we always add in a little amuse-bouche. There's just something a little extra to give our audiences every time.
Great. Well, thank you, Georgina, for joining us today. We really look forward to hearing Consonare's performance here in Portland on March the 12th, and the one down in Roseburg on March the 6th, called Pulling on Hearstrings. I invite you all to come and join us. And so until next time, keep a smile on your lips and a song in your heart.
Will do. Thank you, Craig.
You bet.